Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Farming Games Iceberg. Yeah, the Farming Games Iceberg. This iceberg chart was created by me. So originally I thought there'd be like 50 entries maybe, but no, there are hundreds of these games, and I mean hundreds. I trimmed it down and I'll let you know why in a second. But folks, what is it about farming that's just grips us, right? I there's so many of these games, they're successful for a reason, and real farming is tough. And real farming is no joke. Farmers today face a self-unaliving rate like 3.5 times higher than your average person. I mean, it's backbreaking labor, it's debt, it's failing crops, it's terrible. But these games gives us an outlet to return back to nature, to get away from the concrete jungle where we really want to be is out there in the country, right? We work all of our lives to grind for a little bit of cash just so we can afford to make it out in the middle of nowhere. Well, at least for some of us, that's true. But with these games, we get a healthy outlet to explore our farming needs, our want to be back into nature. Now, again, I trimmed this down. If you don't see your favorite game on this list, let me know in the comments below. I'm not trying to shame anyone or their genre, and I don't want any toxicity here, trust me. But you don't want to hear me going over and over again like, this mobile game lets you farm, this mobile game lets you farm, and you have to spend gems to get... You see what I mean? It goes on and on and on. So I picked out the unique ones, the ones that have a twist. Anyway, again, check the comments and see how many my guys and this ain't it chiefs I'm gonna get. Come back in a week maybe. I seem to attract those, I seem to get a lot of those comments, right? Anyway, with that all out of the way, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. Hit the like button if you like it and subscribe if you haven't. And to my channel members, thank you. Bless your heart, I should say. I'm going to try to be better for y'all. But with that all out of the way, I hope you enjoy this iceberg. Remember, it's going to be most known to least known games. But again, if you have a favorite and I missed it, just let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear more about it. But with that out of the way, let's begin. Layer 1, Sim Farm. Sim Farm is probably one of the first ever real farming games that we've ever got. True, there are some even more niche games that you could argue are farming games that were a little bit earlier, but 1993's Sim Farm is arguably what started it all. From developer Maxis, known as SimCity's country cousin, this was the first major graphical farming simulator. You inherit a rundown farm and build it into a thriving operation over multiple generations. You plant crops with realistic growth. They're affected by weather, bugs. You have to manage your livestock and their health. You purchase tractors, buildings, and even planes. And you have to balance your finances amid disasters like droughts, tornadoes, or blizzards. No cozy villagers or romance, just pure economic strategy where your farm's success or bankruptcy ripples into a nearby town. This is a groundbreaking simulation game that laid the groundwork for the genre, though far grittier than today's more cozy games. The Harvest Moon series. Alright, so you knew this was coming. The Harvest Moon series is the quintessential farming game series in gaming. It's the game that everybody thinks of when you talk about farming games. And even if you've never played one, if someone mentions farming games, you'll have it in your mind, this game, even if you can't remember the name or never played one before, right? Everybody knows them. You pet cows, you raise chickens, you talk to villagers, you give out marriage proposals, you know. Later games in the list would spin off a bit and would have some different twists, and the games themselves actually splinter off into two separate companies. We'll talk about that in a minute. But for now, I just want to list off all of the Harvest Moon games. Number 1, Harvest Moon on the Super Nintendo in 1996. Harvest Moon Game Boy comes next, 1997 on the Game Boy, and was ported to the Game Boy Color as Harvest Moon, Game Boy Color. Harvest Moon 64 is next on the What Else Nintendo 64 in 1999. Followed up by Harvest Moon 2 on the Game Boy Color in 1999. Harvest Moon Back to Nature on the PS1 in 1999. Harvest Moon 3 on the Game Boy Color on the year 2000. Harvest Moon Save the Homeland, PlayStation 2 in 2001. Harvest Moon Friends of Mineral Town, arguably one of the fan favorites, I like it a lot, on the Game Boy Advance in 2003. Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life on the GameCube in 2003. Definitely one of my favorites. Harvest Moon: More Friends in Mineral Town on the Game Boy Advance in 2003. Harvest Moon: Another Wonderful Life, GameCube 2004. Harvest Moon: Magical Melody on the GameCube 2005. Harvest Moon DS, yeah, the one that where you can unalive the entire town. Yeah, no, I'm not kidding. It came out on the DS in 2005. Harvest Moon DS Cute on the Nintendo DS in 2005. Harvest Moon Boy and Girl on the PlayStation Portable in 2005. Harvest Moon DS Island of Happiness on the DS in 2007. Harvest Moon Tree of Tranquility on the Nintendo Wii in 2007. Harvest Moon DS Sunshine Islands on the Nintendo DS in 2008. Harvest Moon Animal Parade on the Wii in 2008. Harvest Moon DS Grand Bazaar on the DS in 2008. Harvest Moon Hero of Leaf Valley on the PlayStation Portable 2009, Harvest Moon The Tale of Two Towns on the DS 3DS in 2010, Harvest Moon 3D A New Beginning on the 3DS in 2012. Now this doesn't include spin-offs like Puzzle to Harvest or Innocent Life. We'll talk about that a bit more later. Oh, I'm sorry, did you think I was done? No, because there's still more Harvest Moon games. Harvest Moon 3D The Lost Valley on the 3DS in 2014, Harvest Moon Seeds of Memories on the iOS and Android, yeah, that's a thing, in 2016, Harvest Moon Sky Tree Village on 3DS in 2016, Harvest Moon Light of Hope on 2017 on the Switch, PS4, iOS, Androids, Xbox One, PC. Okay, in 2018, Harvest Moon Mad Dash on the Switch, PSC, PS4, 2019, Harvest Moon One World on the Switch, PS4, Xbox One, PC in 2021. Harvest Moon The Winds of Anthos, Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series S, PC in 2023. And Harvest Moon Home Sweet Home, iOS, Android in 2024 with ports to Switch, PS5, Xbox, and PC. Now, what's with that pause? Did I just make an editing mistake? No, because we're about to get into the Story of Seasons games. I know some people get confused, but let me try to break it down in as most palatable way as I can. The Story of Seasons series. Alright, so Story of Seasons ties into Harvest Moon in a unique way. I'll explain that in a minute, but first let me get through this list of games, starting with Story of Seasons on the 3DS in 2014. Followed by Story of Seasons Trio of Town on the 3DS in 2016, Story of Seasons Friends of Mineral Town, sound familiar, on the Switch, PC, PS4, Xbox One in 2019, Story of Seasons Pioneers of Olive Town on Switch, PC, PS4 in 21, Story of Seasons A Wonderful Life, Switch, PC, PS5, Xbox Series X in 2023, and Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar on Switch, Switch 2, and the PC in 2025. The two series, Harvest Moon and Story of Seasons, diverged in 2014 after Harvest Moon 3D A New Beginning, ironically enough. That was the last game Marvelous licensed to publisher Natsume for North America. Natsume had coined and trademarked Harvest Moon for English releases since 1996, but Marvelous, which are the original developers via Victor Interactive Software, ended the partnership to handle Western publishing themselves through Xseed Games. Unable to use Harvest Moon, Marvelous rebranded the Bokujo Monogatari, aka Harvest Moon series, as Story of Seasons, starting with the 2014 3DS game. Natsume then developed their own unrelated games under the Harvest Moon name, like The Lost Valley in 2014, leading to fan confusion, but allowing both brands to continue independently. Marvelous Xseed focusing on high-quality continuations, while Natsume's efforts have been a lot more mixed. So, with that all out of the way, if you're playing Story of Seasons or if you're playing Harvest Moon, you're technically playing Harvest Moon either way. You know what I mean? It's just two different publishers, but they're publishing at the same time. It is a bit confusing, yes, but it's going to boil down to your own personal preference. Now, again, there are some hits, some misses on this list, and not every game is perfect, and not every game is, well, good, frankly. But I recommend you check them out, especially, Harvest Moon Friends of Mineral Town, Wonderful Life, and even the ones on the Game Boy can be really good. The later games, obviously they start to dip in quality. There's just so many of them, but check them out. Now, one thing I do want to say before I move on is if you want a good, iceberg to listen to if this sucks, go check out the Harvest Moon Iceberg by Garnet and Eggs. It's one of the best icebergs I've ever seen on a subject out there, and it doesn't get enough credit. So go check him out. I'll link it below, but remind me and tell him I sent you. But with that, let's move on. The Animal Crossing series. Right, so to address the elephant in the room, Animal Crossing is not a farming game. I mean, or is it? When you think about it, you spend all day talking and being friends to animals, your neighbors. You build up your house, you plant things for profit. I mean, hell, what is a farming game, right? I put this on the list, especially with the latest game, New Horizons, letting you plant crops, just to kind of give you an idea, like, well, what is a farming game, right? What is a cozy game? They kind of, go hand in hand, right? The Animal Crossing series has been going strong ever since the GameCube. I played the hell out of the game, obviously, and it's been going on this far, and I believe with the lockdowns, unfortunately, this game really picked back up, and now it's a household name, right? Animal Crossing. But yeah, you plant things and be friends with animals, so what more is there to ask? Let's move on. Stardew Valley. All right, everybody, just pause your game for a minute. Just look at this real quick. Look at this. Look at this. This is not healthy behavior. I have played this game for over 1,600 hours. Okay, now it's been out for over 10 years, but I mean, guys, I put this game in my top 10 games, period, for me, alongside things like Pokemon, StarCraft 2, and Mega Man Legends. Yeah, I like all kinds of games, but I love this game. It's a farming game, but it's got everything. It's got romancing, it's got a decent story, it's got an addictive gameplay cycle, it's got all the seasons, it's got plenty of animals, it has magic, it has combat, it has mining, level up systems, RPGs, real tangible goals, and it's seemingly endless, and just when you think you're done, there's more stuff to unlock. Even I haven't gotten all the achievements yet, although I guess I probably could. I love this game, and I just want y'all to know real quick, I've been modding the hell out of it too, and I've married Sandy long before this latest update. And Caroline, for that matter. By the way, check out my Stardew Valley fanfiction if you're interested in something like that, involving Caroline, if you know what I mean. But Stardew Valley is one of possibly, if not the greatest farming game. I mean, it's hard to say, I know, because that's my opinion, and I don't want y'all... I know y'all get mad when I get too opinionated on these lists, but I love this game. It's one of the best farming games out there. It was created by a solo developer, Eric Baroni, aka Concerned Ape, who just recently said he was going to put out a 10-year patch for the game, including new marriage candidates and, whatever else. I mean, this game just has it all, like I said. You can even play co-op with your friends. You can play it on almost any platform. And I can pop this sucker in just any time, and I can play it for a week. You know what I mean? No matter how much I've played it. If you love this game too, let me know. It's phenomenal. And if you're looking for a farming game that's easy to get into, yet also challenging to master, but will keep you playing forever, if you're into that sort of thing, then, look into it. Stardew Valley is just a great game. There's nothing more I could say. It's just check it out for yourself. Let's move on. Also, side note, he's working on another game called Haunted Chocolatier, so keep your eye out for that. It's not really going to be a farming game so much as going to be an action RPG with cozy aesthetic, but yeah, check it out. Let's move on. The Farming Simulator series. Alright, so if I was to ask you, how many games are in the Farming Simulator series, what would you tell me? You'd probably say, 3, 5, maybe 10? How about 17? Yeah, there's 17 games in the Farming Simulator series. Well, 9 mainline titles and 8 spin-off titles, right? Welcome to Farming Simulator series. This game was created by Swiss developers Giant Software. It started off on pretty rocky, actually. It wasn't really that popular at first, of course, as you can hardly even find 08 without having to look for it. Farming Sim 08, I should say. And now we're up to Farming Sim 25. Yeah, we're in John Madden territories of gaming naming conventions, right? So Farming Simulator series is, I suppose, an incredibly popular series. I had no idea. What makes this one interesting to me is just how uninteresting it is. I mean, look at how it looks like a serious game, like a serious farming game. It doesn't look like we're playing around. There's no magic here. There's no romance in here. It's just get down in that dirt and get your hands dirty and drive these tractors. Actually, the tractors are a big part of it, with many people saying it's built for tractor enthusiasts or even further. So these games have come out on the Switch, the PC, everything, you name it. It's an incredibly popular game series, I mean, obviously, and it only seems to get better every year. It's pretty crazy. The Farming Simulator series, if you haven't played it, maybe check it out. Let's move on. Farmville. All right, here's a question for you guys out there, especially if you're listening in the future. Do you remember Facebook? No. I'm being serious. The other day I met a boomer who told me Facebook was a dead platform. I'm not kidding. Like, it's kind of crazy, right? And I think a lot of people got off Facebook simply because there were too many old people on there. They didn't want to be tracked by their parents, right? But that's a whole nother issue. Farmville is the original OG Facebook game, freemium game. If you don't know what freemium is, essentially think of it this way. Your first hit's always free, but sometimes the most expensive things in life are free, right? Farmville was created by Zynga, and it came out in 2009. It was a Facebook game, and you played with your other friends on there if they had Farmville, and then you would go to each other's farms, and you would like do things for them, like water their crops or whatever, send them gifts, and then obviously it was just massive. People forget how massive this was. I mean, at its peak, it had something like 90 million players in a month, with like 35 million peak million players in a day. So that's pretty crazy. A lot of people just don't understand. It was insane. It was crazy. Everybody was playing Farmville on Facebook, right? And I know you might think I'm old. You're still thinking, Facebook? Seriously? I mean, we're not that old. Now, just give it a few more years, right? But then again, I remember I was on MySpace at one point. Right, guys. But anyway, Zynga created not only Farmville, but now there's Farmville 2 and Farmville 3, which is still going to this day, although Farmville 3 is a mobile game, right? And there's been a couple of spin-offs as well. But a lot of people, again, do remember this game. And again, what is it? I mean, it's farming, right? It's simple. It's pretty basic. This is why I say a lot of these entries are going to be, oh, and you farm in this game, right? But this one was adored by the masses and is a piece of internet history, to be sure. Let's move on. Also, side note, a lot of these games have farm in the title and like the first word, so my image folder is all jumbled up. You don't care about this. All right, on this one, I'm going to do a lightning round of mobile games, okay? Now, it's hard enough to keep people clicked on for too long as it is. I don't want to bore you for half an hour going on and on about this one and that one. And I mean, look at this list. A lot of them just, I'm sorry to say, they kind of look like slop games, kind of just feeding into the hype. Now, there may be some diamonds in the rough here, but unless I specifically put it on the iceberg or just flat out missed it, which I can do, I'm probably not going to mention, your favorite, and I hate to say that. Let's go through some of the bigger ones, like Heyday came out in 2012 by Supercell. This one is a little bit different because it's more cartoony and there's some vehicles in it. This one has 1 billion downloads, it's made a lot of money. What's interesting about this is that it's absolute nightmare fuel. I mean, look at this picture. This is horrifying. This made me cry when I first saw it. Look at these bees. This is I want to jump off the building. Next up is Township in 2013. This one comes from Playrix. This one has 600 million downloads, 2.5 billion in revenue. Wow, just unbelievable. Maybe I should make a farming game, right? Actually, one Unstoppable Core game, all right? So there's no sequel, spin-off, things like this. This is just one big game, right? Family Farm series started in 2012 and it's going on to the present. These are mobile games. This one, there's some puzzles in there. You're farming. Looks like you're traveling through islands. You're going on adventures. But again, it's another mobile farming game, right? So finally, coming up on some other honorable mentions, I guess. There's Family Island, Big Farm, Mobile Harvest, and a couple others. I mean, really, just let me know if there's your favorite. If I missed it, let me know down below. But in the iceberg, if I thought it was worth mentioning, I promise you I mentioned it. But with that out of the way, let's move on to the next layer. Bonus entry. That's right. I haven't done these since the sad internet iceberg. Check that out sometime. It's actually don't because I'm kind of embarrassed. It was in my early days. But Ranch Simulator is a game I wanted to talk about, but I forgot to put on the iceberg. Ranch Simulator is another farming simulator game. Well, not the farming simulator, but it is a farming simulator where you work on a ranch. You play as a created character, which is pretty cool. You see yourself walking around in third person, and you can actually do hunting in that game, kind of like, Red Dead Redemption, only, not. It's a ranching game, right? So just because it says ranching doesn't mean it's any really different from farming, honestly. This one just focuses more on the animals. You can check it out on Steam right now. It's by Toxic Dog, which have an interesting portfolio, I should say. But with that out of the way, let's move on to the next layer. Layer 2, Rune Factory Series. My man just killed a monster on his farm with this farming tool. That's awesome. I don't know why I haven't played this myself yet, because I absolutely need to. Welcome to the Rune Factory series. This was developed by Marvelous as a spin-off from the Harvest Moon / Story of Seasons games. This game is still going on to this day, this game series I should say, and the tagline is Fight, Farm, Fall in Love. I mean, what more could you want? You grow crops, you tame monsters like in dungeons, and then I guess you ranch with them. It's a hack and slash RPG. You make friends with villagers, and you can even get married in the game. Awesome. We're all about matrimony on this channel. But no, seriously though, this game's been going on since 2006 with Rune Factory Fantasy Harvest Moon on the DS. Next up, we had Rune Factory Frontier on the Wii in 2008. Rune Factory 2 was next on the DS in 2008. Rune Factory 3 on the DS in 2009 with the PC port in 2023. Rune Factory Tides of Destiny on the Wii PS3 in 2011. Rune Factory 4 on the 3DS in 2012. Rune Factory 5 on the Switch in 2021, on PC in 2022, and finally Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma on the Switch, Switch 2 on the PC in 2025. So check it out for yourself. I mean, that looks pretty awesome to me. And I gotta say, I love the anime aesthetic. I mean, these characters are adorable and attractive in later games, of course, which is always good. And there's gonna be, marriage again, as usual. The whole friendship system, the fighting, the combat. I mean, it's got everything. That sounds awesome. Check it out. Let's move on. My time at Portia, my time at Sandrock, and a bonus game coming up, My Time at Evershire, which is unreleased to this day. These are created by Panthea Games. The first one, My Time at Portia, came out in 2019. My Time at Sandrock came out in 23. And the other one is TBD. So I gotta tell you, this is one of the most bizarre farming games I've seen. And no offense if you like it, because it looks interesting. It's like part farming, part ranching, part Pokemon for some reason, part combat, and part, romance, villagers, and things. There's a lot going on here. I'm just kidding. There's a lot. It looks like they put a lot into these games, right? There's a lot of different things. And it's very, very cartoony, almost to the point where it kind of turns me off personally. Like, that's not my thing. But check it out if you want. These are, this is just very unusual looking, I gotta say. But it popped up when I was looking for farming games, and I was like, wow, people gotta know about this. This is something. Have you played this? Let me know what it's like. But yeah, absolutely. I guess you're farming, ranching, catching monsters, and I'm even seeing it's post-apocalyptic. You know what I mean? Like you're rebuilding too. So this is just really cool. I don't know what more to say. Let's move on. Fields of Mystria. So Fields of Mystery as a game, I feel like hit the algorithm jackpot. There's a lot of hype for this game. I see it being played a lot, and it's always in my recommended somewhere or another. But Fields of Mystery is a game created by NPC Studio, which is a fun name, always. And it's out on early access right now, so it's not fully released yet. You can find it on PC, on Steam, you know. The way I've heard it described is Stardew Valley, but more anime. And I mean, this anime aesthetic is really nice. I do like it. And of course, you have the GBA style pixel graphics, which is really cool as well. The plot is going to be you inherit a farmstead, homestead, and you're helping to rebuild the town. You meet villagers, you farm, you romance, you fight monsters that are monsters are coming through from somewhere. I have not played the game myself, that's why I say I don't know, but check it out for yourself if it looks like something you might be interested in. It certainly looks cozy to me. Let's move on. Farm Together 1 and 2. So at first, Farm Together looks kind of stock and generic, right? I wouldn't blame you for thinking that. The draw to this game is literally in the name, Together. So this game boasts up to 16 players simultaneously online through cross-platform play, which is kind of wild to me. I mean, imagine a farming game that you play with 15 other people. I mean, what are you all doing at the same time, right? It comes from Milkstone Studios, and you can purchase it right now on Steam or to Switch 2. And it's got a pretty high reception. It's got a pretty high rating, so check it out for yourself. Not much more to say. Let's move on. Sun Haven. Sun Haven is a game created by Pixel Sprout Studios and released in 2023. This game is a magical fantasy land filled with humans, monsters, demons, elves, and things such as. This game also boasts 8-player consecutive co-op, so there you go with multiplayer again. And this one has 23 marriage candidates, yeah. So name me a farming game that doesn't have marriage at this point, right? That's pretty cool. I mean, I didn't know cozy games were all about matrimony, but you know, here we go, right? Also on top of that, the game looks like a lot of fun. It looks really colorful. I do like the top-down design. The character, portraits, I'm not a big fan of personally, but, that could just be me. Doesn't look like my kind of game, but if you're interested in that magical land, fantasy land, farming, playing with other players, and you want to marry a monster boy, I guess, why not? Go for it. This game looks like it could be for you. So check it out for yourselves. Let's move on. Roots of Pacha. Right off the bat, Roots of Pacha is probably the most fun name that they could have named this. I don't know why, I just keep saying it over and over again. Roots of Pacha, Roots of Pacha, Roots of Pacha. Which is apropos to this subject matter because this one looks more prehistoric. So in this one, you're living in the ancient era. I mean, as noted by the clothing and the mammoths and all the screenshots. You're ranching animals, you're farming, and this one has a big focus on the community. I see a lot of mini games, a lot of village festivals. It does look pretty cozy. And once again, this one focuses very heavily on marriage. There's even a little baby here. Look at that. That's adorable. I feel like there's something deeper here. Once again, how we all long to play farming games that also have a fishing minigame. And I guess, maybe we're romanticizing marriage a bit, which is an ironic thing to say, I know. But all of these games feature marriage in some way. I don't know why I never put that together. It's like the number one thing in these games. I'm not exaggerating. Like half of the screenshots, if you go to the Steam page, are involving a family, which is adorable and frankly awesome. I'm just like, huh. But I'm not smart enough to say what I want to say on it, so check it out for yourself. Roots of Pacha. I mean, hey, if you want a gimmick, there you go. Try farming in the prehistoric era. Although I doubt you'll be ripped apart by, anything too dangerous. But with that out of the way, let's move on. Star Sand Island. Star Sand Island is a game that's out on early access. It just got released in February of this year, 26. So take it with a grain of salt if you decide to play it, right? It's still being worked on. It's being created by a developer known as Seed Sparkle Studio. And I gotta say right off the bat, this game features yet another escape from the city life to go live in the country, which is, I feel like it's just a common motif for all of these games, which I feel like is definitely video essay worthy, so be on the lookout for that. I'm really getting some ideas here. But the game looks pretty, it looks adorable. It has that anime art style that I really love. A lot of different outfits. There's fishing, farming, mining, combat, of course, ranching, and skateboarding, mini games. I mean, all kinds of things. This game looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's definitely on my radar for sure. The cozy genre is only booming right now, so be on the lookout for this game. Wish list it if you wish. I don't know, it looks pretty cool to me, but again, I haven't played it yet, so, don't blame me if, it ends up being balls. But I don't know, it looks awesome. Check it out for yourself if you're so interested. Let's move on. Sakuna of Rice and Ruin. Released in 2020 and developed by a developer known as Edelweiss, Sakuna of Rice and Ruin might be one of the most unique games on this list so far, in that it is a farming sim, but it focuses much more heavily on the 2D platforming, side-scrolling action and the narrative versus the farming itself. Although don't get me wrong, there is farming in this game, but it's specifically rice farming, and it's done a lot more hands-on. It shows it step by step. It gives you a special reverence for the work and duty that's required of you as a rice farmer. So the narrative, to summarize it, it stars a harvest goddess Sakuna, who is basically booted from her celestial home and has to work alongside mortals on an island to, grow rice, and she has to eventually earn her way back home. So she has to master farming, and she'll get upgrades in her levels by, fighting bosses and monsters and things such as. Again, I'm not a game reviewer, I'm a game advertiser. Check it out for yourself. I really want to play it myself personally. This is a game I absolutely would stream. Supposedly, it's a little bit of a tearjerker in the end. It's heartfelt, it's humble, you have growth in the game, and of course, you get a deeper appreciation for Japanese folklore. It's just poetic. And of course, like I said earlier, there's no romance or marriage, and there's hardly any fishing, so it's quite a bit different. But it is all about rice farming, plowing the fields, planting seeds, there's mining, foraging. There is some ranching in it. You build your home, but of course the focus is on the combat, and it looks really cool. It's about a 40 to 60 hour game. There's no co-op in it, but there is a new game plus, and I'm sure there's some collectibles. I don't know. Have you played this game? Let me know what it's like. Check it out for yourself. Let's move on. Survival games. This entry is to kind of be a catch-all for survival games specifically. Mostly because I wanted to talk about Don't Starve. I had it on the Iceberg at one point, but I started thinking about it. It's not really a farming game. Yeah, you can build a farm and your goal is to, not starve. I mean, literally. But I mean, it's not cozy at all, and it's not the focus at all. I would say it's very small part of its farming. Same with something like The Forest or Subnautica. Yes, you can grow your own food, but I mean, you just sort of press A and then wait a few hours, and then you fight off naked cannibals like in The Forest, right? So it's not cozy. It's not really a farming game that much. You know what I mean? But they are great games. Don't get me wrong. I love survival games, right? I love all kinds of games. I mean, I'm just that kind of guy. I just love video games, right? You know what I mean? I especially like anime girl games, but you know what I mean. Anyway, for all the survival games out there, in case you were wondering, this is the entry for them. What are your favorites, and what do you think? I mean, is there one that specifically I should have included? If I felt like it was more farming game enough, maybe a 70-30, I put it on this list, I promise you. But yeah, check these games out for yourself. I know it's not for everyone, but Subnautica might be in my top 20 or top 15 games of all time. I just love it so much. The Forest is amazing. Don't Starve's pretty good, but there's plenty of games like it. You know what I'm talking about. But with that out of the way, let's move on to the next layer. Layer 3. Wildflowers. Wildflowers was released in 2022 by Studio Dry Dock. It's a bewitching, cozy farming sim, featuring mostly magic and witchcraft and things such as. It launched on Apple, of all things, first, and then later came to Steam and the Switch in September of 2022. And now it's on PS5 and Xbox Series S. So it's got quite a few owners, 120,000 plus, overwhelmingly positive reviews. So the plot is basically this witch Tara inherits her late aunt's farm on Wild Island, and of course, as usual, seeking refuge from burnout from the city, and of course, having to use magic, and starts farming and ranching, And, using magic, you can romance up to 9 other NPCs as usual, which is amazing, always. There's not really any mining or co-op or anything like that, but I believe there is a fishing minigame, and there's potion brewing, things such as, so you can play as a witch in a farm, right? Wildflowers. Have you played this one? Let me know. Let's move on. Fae Farm. So once again, we're talking about a magical farming sim. Fae Farm was released in 2023. It was developed by Phoenix Labs. It's now available on PC, the Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox, basically everything. It's not as highly rated as some of the others on this list, but it's still rated pretty positively and has had pretty good success. The narrative on this one is that you're washed ashore on a storm-battered land known as Azoria, and you snag some neglected farmland to rebuild. You befriend the islanders, the elves, you can romance a bunch of people. Obviously, I believe there's 10 romanceable characters in this one. And then you can delve below to the Fae reality where you do combat, mining, you ally with fairies, and you wield magic, So that's pretty cool, right? You can farm, you can ranch, there's fishing, there's mining, and once again, there's romanceable characters, and there's 1 to 4 player co-op with crossplay, which is pretty cool. Anyway, yet another magical farming sim. Check it out. Let me know what you think. Let's move on. Paleo Pines. Paleo Pines was released in 2023 by Italic Pig. It's available on Steam, PC, Xbox, and the PS4, 5. Yeah, there's a lot of money in these games, by the way. I hope you're learning a lot. This one is a unique farming sim because this one features farming alongside dinosaurs. Yeah, the cute, friendly, cuddly, rideable kind, and not like the rip-apart Dennis Nedgery kind, you know what I mean? This one has a bit lower reviews on some platforms and a bit higher on others. I don't really know how to describe it. On this one, you have a dino pal named Lucky that you were separated from basically a long time ago. She's supposed to be the last of her kind. Anyway, you ride her around and you use her and other dinosaurs to help you restore a rundown ranch. You then, farm. You meet up with the local villagers, although there's no marriage this time, not even to the dinosaur. Sorry to some of y'all that would have wanted that. But there is farming, befriending dinosaurs, so it's like a Pokemon sim to it, you know what I mean? Kind of catch them all. There's ranching, you explore, you use the dinosaurs to make progress. I guess kind of like in, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, riding Miraidon or Koraidon, you know what I mean? Building, customizing your ranches, homes, and, collecting collectibles. Yeah, this one just looks surprisingly interesting. I don't know. I mean, it's a bit too cartoony for me, but sounds interesting. I'd try it, maybe. Let's move on. Dinkum. Dinkum is, for one, just a really fun word to say. But Dinkum was released in 2022 by a developer known as James Benden and published by Craft On. This one is part The Sims, part Minecraft, part Animal Crossing, all inspired or set in an inspired land that's supposed to be based off the real Australian outback. Although, I doubt you'll just fall over and get a game over if you encounter a spider, right? But yeah, what interested me about this one is all the extracurricular activities that's shown in the trailer, like paragliding, speedboating, fishing. That looks like a lot of fun. As usual, we do have farming here, we have ranching, mining, there are NPCs, but no marriage this time. This one's more about the fun, and there's 1 to 4 player co-op, which I'm actually surprised to find out how many of these games have co-op in them. Nothing against that, it just surprised me. But anyway, with that, check it out for yourself. I mean, I know I've said that about a lot of these games. I'm trying to be careful, you know what I mean? But this one does look pretty interesting. Let's move on. KYN Seed, which I'm going to call Knee Seed. I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, Knee Seed was released in 2022 on Steam. It comes from Pixel Count Studios. This one focuses less on the farming and ranching and more on the day-to-day world building, the combat. There's even crafting, mini games, and you can own your own business in this one, which is a pretty neat twist. Kind of reminds me of old MMORPGs. This one's also all about the family and the legacy. You can marry almost any NPC in the game, regardless of gender, that sort of thing. Have a family. This one focuses a lot more on the crafting, the customization of your home, and the combat system looks a bit more in depth than usual. normal. Usually it's just, cast magic or swipe of your sword. This one looks like it's more RPG. There's a lot going on in this trailer here. Looks pretty interesting, looks pretty entertaining, right? But yeah, check it out for yourself. This one does feature fishing, mining, a business, again, which is pretty cool, romance and marriage, and combat as usual. So yeah, check it out. Let's move on. Wanderstop. Wanderstop is a game released in 2025 of March, almost exactly a year ago from when I'm recording this video. The developer's name is Ivy Road, and the creator was Davey Weriden. I'm sorry about that. What's important about this guy? Well, this is the creator of the Stanley Parable. Yeah, remember that game? Remember your favorite YouTuber 10 years ago? Oh man, this game is so deep, you guys. Like, comment, and subscribe, and check out the merch. Okay, I'm kidding. The game was good. And given that game's narrative, it wouldn't surprise me if it shared a universe with this game. But Wanderstop is its own unique experience. Now, this is a farming sim, but it doesn't feature co-op, marriage, romance, combat, ranching, fishing, or mining. Combat is unique in this because apparently the main character themselves has some trauma from combat, but this is a more laid-back game. It's a very strong narrative focus, like the Stanley Parable before it. In this game, you manage a tea shop with a tea shop owner known as Boro, and you're farming to gather ingredients and you serve the customers. It's a unique experience. It's a good way to wind down. It's back on that motif of getting away from it all, only this is in a more fantasy world. And there's a bit of a dark twist at the end from what I understand. I'm not going to spoil it for you, obviously. Check it out for yourself. You can find it on Steam, of course, right now. And yeah, it is called Wanderstop, so check it out. Let's move on. The Farm Tribe series. Alright, so this one might seem out of place at first, but that's because it is. I threw it on this tier specifically because I noticed all these entries were kind of quirky and gimmicky, and I wanted to throw something in there. Let's get some good old-fashioned mobile game slop on this tier. Yeah, this is kind of a joke entry, although not really if this is your favorite series of games. These were mobile games created by Cryo Games, working with Big Fish Entertainment, BFG. Nice. These games you play as a trailblazing farm girl named Annie. In the first game, you're unraveling Mayan tribe mysteries. You manage a tribe, you click on things, you grow things. On the second game, you're then trying to revive a farm to have your dream wedding, which that's kind of a change in plot, right? Like what? And on the third one, you're going to Dragon Island, and I don't even. Okay, this is a joke entry. I apologize, but I mean, that does sound a bit unique, but yeah, again, more mobile game farming. There's not much to it, no mining, fishing, combat, co-op. I guess there's technically a marriage in the second game, but whatever. Check it out for yourself if you desire. You can find it on Steam right now. Let's move on. Echoes of the Plum Grove. Okay, this game is absolutely adorable, but let's get the paper elephant out of the room first, shall we? Look at this. This game was absolutely inspired by Paper Mario, at least Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door. I mean, come on, look at this. Tell me it's not, seriously. And this is awesome. I love the way this looks. So if you were playing Paper Mario and thought, you know what this game needs? More farming and marriage and dying of malaria, then this game might be for you. Echoes of the Plum Grove was released in 2024 by Unwound Games. It's available on Steam right now with a very positive rating. On this one, there is obviously farming, ranching, romance and marriage, mining, dying of malaria. There's no co-op and there's no combat, it looks like, but there is about 30 to 50 solid hours of gameplay. And there's a legacy system once again, playing your children and things such as, right? You shipwreck on an island known as Honeywood, which is just an amazing name, by the way. And it's run down land, and it's obviously inspired by, the real world colonization of North America, which is always pretty cool, right? But again, there's farming, mining, colorful characters, seasonal crops. You're gonna water, you're gonna chop trees, and eventually you're gonna die. So that's always fun to remember in these sorts of cozy games, right? But maybe I'm putting too much of an emphasis on the death part of it. It's just presented so naturally. It's like, overcome malaria. Yeah. But anyway, check it out if you want. I mean, hey, it does look pretty cool. I like the way it looks, but let's move on. Rusty's Retirement. Rusty's Retirement was released in 2024 on Steam by a solo developer known as Mr. Morris Games. This one I'm fascinated with because it has two gimmicks. Its first gimmick is that it has an all-robot cast, which I believe is the first time we've had that on this list so far. And number two is that it's specifically designed with multitasking in mind. Kind of like what you're doing right now. What game are you playing? Let me know. But this game is advertised as a game that you play idle. You put it on the bottom of your screen and just kind of, set it and forget it as it does its thing with minimal interaction while you're, I don't know, doing homework or studying or watching an RSAM video, like the anime archetype iceberg or the Big Bend iceberg. Yeah, I'm never letting that one go, by the way. That, I swear, is my best iceberg I've ever done, and nobody watched it. I'm never letting it go. But anyway, check out this game just because I appreciate indie games and what they do for the community. I mean, look, the guy knows his market. I love it. Anyway, check it out for yourself. Rusty's Retirement on Steam. Let's move on. So before we begin, I joke about things, right? Like, I'm not actually upset no one watched my Big Ben video. I joke about things, okay? Just everything's fine. But anyway, speaking of jokes, Staxel looks 100% like a Minecraft ripoff. I mean, again, we're just telling jokes here. But no, seriously, that's kind of disappointing because it actually does look really cute. This was developed by Plukit, a Dutch indie developer, and was released in 2018. This one's a bit more peaceful. There's no combat in it. There's no romance or marriage either, so we're not pushing the Minecraft beds together, unfortunately. But it is a farming sim, and it is a co-op game. There's also a lot of crafting, terraforming. I mean, if you play Minecraft, I mean, you understand what I'm saying, right? Like, this is basically it, of course. But it is, it is advertised as a farming simulator game. It's got mostly positive reviews. People that played it really liked it. They said there was some bugs, some jank, but they said they really liked it. Personally, when I look at it, I know it's like pixelated, blocky graphics, but looks like there's an anime aesthetic hidden in there. So I kind of like that a lot. So I don't know, not my type of game, but with that out of the way, I thank you for watching this layer. Let's move on to the next one. Layer 4, Lightyear Frontier. Lightyear Frontier is being developed by Framebreak. It is an early access game, so as such, it's hard to talk about what features will and won't be in the game. But look at this. This is a farming sim where instead of a tractor, you drive a mech. I mean, why have we not made this yet? This is amazing. Instant wish list. Again, now it's hard to talk about what will and won't be in the game. It's going to be open world, farming. There's going to be some ranching. Doesn't look like there's any fishing yet or, romance, but there is co-op, right? So that's pretty cool. Anyway, you drive around in your tractor mech and you use it to craft the world, and you use it to, I guess, get lumber, carrying heavy objects. You can drive it around, you can soup it up, I guess you can customize it. I mean, this looks awesome, and why haven't we done this yet again? And I just can't wait. Maybe there will be a fishing add-on at some point. Can you imagine? Awesome. Instant wish list from me, and hopefully from you too. Let's move on. Farm Manager World, the Africa DLC. So Farm Manager World itself isn't anything special. It's got mostly negative reviews, or at least mixed reviews. It looks kind of like a slop game. I'll just be totally honest here, guys. It looks like one of those more down-to-earth ones like Sim Farm, where you're mostly managing the resources and the money and the capitalist part of it, right? Nothing wrong with that, of course, but nothing really special about it. This one caught my eye because for some reason I saw it on Steam, and I saw the Africa DLC, and that just kind of boggled my mind because I'm like, when was the last time you heard about a game, a farming game at that, being set in Africa? That sounds pretty cool, right? You would think you'd be riding elephants around or avoiding lions. That could be a really cool idea, but no, it doesn't look like that. It's just set in Africa, right? Also, God bless them, but I've heard some pretty bad things about what happens to farmers in Africa, so hopefully that doesn't play a part in this game. Is that too political? Check out how they spelled wish list. Genius, farmer. Genius. Let's move on. The Farm Frenzy series. Alright, so what caught my eye on this one is just how long running it was. I mean, this game is available on Steam and was released in 2007. I don't mean that it was, re-released 5 years ago or 10 years ago. No, literally it was released on Steam in 2007, right? And the reviews are overwhelmingly positive. Everybody's saying it was a blast from their past. It was nostalgic, right? And what is this game? Well, all you really do is click around and grow things, and it's time management. It's got some pretty strict time limits, so it's not an easy game, but it's definitely old school, nostalgic. A lot of people have fond memories of it, and there's 5 of them. You can find them all on Steam right now. There's no mining, fishing, combat, romance, marriage. It makes me think we're all just spoiled. What happened to good old-fashioned click the screen, grow the grass, and then let's move on? You know what I mean? Right? I've not played this before. There's not really much of a narrative. There's not really much of a story or a gimmick. It's just an old school PC game on Steam. You can play right now. Let's move on. Harvestella. Harvestella was released in 2022 by Square Enix. Yeah, it's been a while since we've had a AAA game on this list, right? Now, I've never seen a game with such mixed reviews. I mean, some people say it's a hidden gem, underappreciated, that everyone should play, and others say it's just balls. This one is a JRPG farming hybrid. Now, as an outsider looking in, it kind of looks like it's a JRPG. They just threw in farming aspects to it to kind of cash in on the cozy genre, which is booming right now. But again, I don't know. Don't get too mad at me. I'm just saying, based on my experience. I haven't played it myself. Anyway, in this game, you're awakened in an amnesiac state during quietus, which is a deadly seasonal dust that settles into Leith Village and the world, and you have to farm and survive. The things that you farm are obviously like your health, items, your benefits, right? And then you have to also do a lot of combat, JRPG style. And I suppose at some point you'll have to do battle with whatever's causing this worldwide catastrophe. Obviously, I know a bit more, but I'm a game advertiser, not a game reviewer, so I don't want to spoil anything. I want you to play it for yourself, or let me know what you think of it, really. Now, there's no mining, there's no romance. There is like a friendship system with your party members, but there's no marriage, right? But there is a fishing game. You do farm in it. There's a bit of ranching, but it looks like it's mostly about the combat and the narrative. So check it out for yourself. It boasts about 40 to 80 hours of gameplay, and it was released by Square Enix. So, I mean, that's got to count for something, right? I mean, I don't know. It looks pretty to me. I just don't know what to say. I've seen too many mixed reviews, and most of them, unfortunately, do seem negative. But what are your thoughts? I do want to say as a side note, if I haven't already, Square Enix mentioned, so you know it's coming, right? Let's move on. Shepherd's Crossing. Shepherd's Crossing is unique amongst this list of unique games for several reasons, and this is going to be a long one, so hang in there for this one, alright? To begin with, this was released in 2008 on the PlayStation 2 by the Japanese developer known as Success, which itself is just an awesome name to name your company, I do have to say. But the footage you're seeing now comes from the 2023 remaster or re-release on the PC and on the Switch. Now, if you go to Steam right now, you'll see it's got a lot of negative reviews, but that mostly just comes from it being a bad port, unfortunately, which shouldn't reflect on the quality of the gameplay itself, so I'd be willing to give it a pass if I were you, but, do with that what you will. So, a few things to note. Number one is, earlier I said it was released in 2008 on the PlayStation 2. That's kind of late for a PlayStation 2 game, right? You would think. I mean, by that time, we already had the Nintendo Wii. Maybe I'm remembering things wrong. I gotta think that, like, wow, did we not have the PS3 by that time for like a few years? But I don't know. Anyway, that's a bit late for a PlayStation 2 game. Now, the next quirky thing to talk about is that this game is like so obscure, despite the fact that, yeah, it was released in North America with English, wording and things such as, obviously. And many people remember it fondly, saying it's nostalgia bait for them. It was their childhood memory. This game is so obscure it doesn't even have its own Wikipedia page, which may not mean much to you, but to me it's like, wow, really? Damn. And everybody loves this game, so it must be a closely guarded secret. Absolutely must be a hidden gem in the rough, right? Well, not exactly. Although it's beloved and looked upon fondly, a lot of people say that it is frustrating, and there really isn't that much to it, although it is unique, right? You farm, sure, but it's mostly about ranching, taking care of animals, trying to build your ranch. It's frustrating to play from what I understand, frustrating to pen in your animals. The trading system is a bit unique. It's not that you pay with money, it's a barter system. So you might trade 2 goats for a bushel of hay or something. I don't know if that's accurate. I'm just going out, give you the idea, right? Which is a pretty cool idea. The characters in the game are kind of stock. They don't really get their own story, but there's great, illustrations still. The gameplay is kind of monotonous, tedious. You're breeding animals, so it's really a mixed bag, but a lot of people swear by it and say they really love it. It's hard to get a good feel for it myself just because of how many mixed receptions there are out there, but many people say it's a great game and a great part of their past, and I'm inclined to believe them on it. But I invite you to check it out for yourself as always. Because this one was a bit more obscure, I managed to find this YouTube video by this YouTuber Janelle Waz. She made a pretty good video on the game, and yeah, it looked pretty frustrating to me, but I don't know, check them out if you're interested in more about this game. I just don't know really what to say, but it is different, it is unique, and it does look, I don't know, it looks like a ranching game, I guess. Also, there's a talking duck. Let's move on. Alice Greenfingers. Yeah, I probably should have put this lower on the list. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought like a lot of people remember this game for its nostalgic value, but I can't even find this on Steam, and that's like a first, I think, for this entire list outside of the mobile games, Alice Greenfingers, despite having frankly, a goofy name, is just a clicking farm.
That's it!
What's up, Iggy?
I've come up with a new recipe.
Can't wait to try it.
Farming game, but a lot of people remember it for its nostalgic values, being an old school PC game. I mean, it's so old school that you needed a whole 128 megabytes of RAM, so I mean, hell, that might have been a lot to come by back then. But no, seriously, the game is actually surprisingly long. It's 30 days, but I've seen some long plays on YouTube that go up to like several hours of gameplay. So check it out for yourself. There is a sequel, Alice Greenfingers 2 as well. But it's a simple, old school computer farming game. So not much more to say. Let's move on. Innocent Life, a futuristic Harvest Moon. So this is a spin-off of the Harvest Moon series. Yeah, remember that series from earlier in the Iceberg? This was released in 2006 on a PlayStation Portable and was developed by Marvelous, of course. A year later, they would come out with a port to the PlayStation 2 known as Special Edition. So we had Innocent Life, a futuristic Harvest Moon Special Edition, which is quite a mouthful to be sure. This game is unique in that, well, it's a Harvest Moon game, but this plays in a more futuristic setting, somewhat of a dystopia as well. There's a lot of themes here of like existentialism and just what it means to be life, right? Okay, so literally the protagonist's name is Life, although you can name him whatever you want. And he's created by Dr. Hope, so you can already tell there's some themes going on here. And there's quite a bit going on here with the plot and the narrative. I mean, sure, you farm, right, as an android boy, but you also have to save the inhabitants of this island. You have to appease 3 deities, the forest, water, and fire spirits, which are angered by humanity's tech dependence. There's also an evil billionaire plot going on from Marco Banks, the CEO of the Banks Corporation. I mean, I mean, that's kind of subtle. Let's be honest here. It sounds like I'm being mean, but I'm just saying, like, it's a bit on the nose, guys. But so a lot of people remember this in many different ways. Some people have nostalgia for it, and others remember it as being frustrating. And I personally, when I watched some gameplay clips of it, it looked pretty frustrating to watch with how many times the poor guy was being interrupted constantly. Anyway, with given the theme of this iceberg, I'll tell you, yes, there's farming, there's ranching, there's fishing, there's mining. There's no combat, but there is puzzle solving to be done. There's no romance or marriage, which is a bit of a letdown, but there are some like somewhat love interest in Marcia, and there is actually a bad ending to this, so add it on the list of Harvest Moon games that have a bad ending, such as Harvest Moon SNES, Harvest Moon A Wonderful Life, and Harvest Moon DS, where you can poison the entire town and unalive the mayor. But look into this game for yourself. I mean, a lot of people have been talking about it lately, so who knows? But with that said, let's move on. Harvest Town. So I put this on the iceberg because it looked like an up-and-comer in the mobile game scene. It was released last year, 2025. It was created by a developer known as Avid Gamers. And I don't know, I saw it and I was like, yeah, this one deserves to be on the iceberg. It looks nice enough. I mean, you got everything you could want, you know, farming, mining, combat, horse racing. That's a new one, actually. Love and marriage, of course. So I just felt like there was a lot to put in a little package like for a mobile game. And I thought in a sea of mobile game farming, you know, slop, to be frank, I thought this one stuck out and I wanted to give it some credit for that. The game could totally suck. I don't know. There's not that many good reviews. I mean, most of them are either, you know, not good or mixed, but check it out for yourself. Hey, let me know how it is. I don't know. I might download it later on today, as a matter of fact. Why don't I put my money where my mouth is, considering, you know, it's a free game. Hey, I would play a lot more of these games. I promise you I would. But I'm poor. Anyway, with that, let's move on. Traveler's Rest. Traveler's Rest is a game you can find right now on Steam. It's been out since 2020, but it's still in early access, so it's difficult for me to say what features will and won't be in the ultimate game. I have no idea. It's being developed by a company known as Isolated Games, an indie developer, I should say. Man, I'm so happy with indie developers. This is a great time to be a gamer, guys. The indie revolution is here, right? AAA is out, indie is in. Anyway, in this game, it's focusing less on the farming and ranching and more on the business aspect of it, similar to Neat Seed as we talked about earlier in the iceberg. In this game, you manage a tavern and you serve local patrons, but there's also exploration, there's co-op, there's mining, looks like there's a little bit of combat, there's some fishing, hunting, and I guess you're obtaining, you know, recipes and ingredients to serve at your tavern, which is pretty cool. I mean, this looks like a fun game, an interesting game, and I'd like to play it for myself whenever it's fully released. Anyway, check it out for yourself if that's the sort of thing you're into. Again, not like it's exactly, you know, focusing on the farming necessarily, but it is a big part of it. I'd call it a farming game. Check it out for yourself. Let's move on. Summer in Mara. So at the time of me recording this video, March the 8th of 26, this game is on sale for 90% off, $199, until March the 18th. So if this video gets out in time and you want to make up your mind, hey, check this game out maybe, it's only $199. But anyway, Summer in Mara was released in 2020 and was developed by a developer known as Chibig. It released on PC, Steam, but was later ported to the Switch, PS4, and Xbox One. And this one's set in a tropical setting on archipelago with several islands to explore, similar to like Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, if you know what I mean. That's what drew me to the game, right? There's a lot of, it's kind of got that cartoony art style that I'm not a big fan of, but it is a farming game. You do farming, ranching, there's mining, fishing, of course. There's no combat or romance. I mean, your protagonist is an 11-year-old kid, so, you know, not a good idea. But there's mining, fishing, ranching, farming. Doesn't look like there's any co-op, but yeah, check out this game for yourself. It looks like it's it looks colorful, it looks playful, and I love the sailing part of it. I love the idea of playing a farming game on a bunch of islands. That sounds pretty cool. One of my favorite aspects of Stardew Valley was having the island farm, though it was kind of annoying to travel in between them. But we're talking about a different game here. Stardew's had its time. We all know it's amazing. Anyway, check out Summer and Mara if you're so interested. Let's move on. Littlewood. So Littlewood is a game on Steam. It was released in 2019 and has later since been ported to the Nintendo Switch, PS4, Xbox One. It was developed by a developer named Sean Young. And what caught my eye about this game is its unique premise in that it takes place after saving the world, right? It's the gimmick of it. So the player character, you, defeated the Dark Wizard and saved the world, and now you return to rebuild the town of Littlewood, with everybody being your, not really sycophants, but everybody praising you for your efforts, and now you're here to rebuild this town, make friends, things such as. But it is a peaceful game. Just looking at the art style, it kind of wears on my eyes. I'm sorry. I know I've been bitching a lot about the different art styles, but maybe that's just me. I'm not sure. But anyway, in this game, there's farming, there's ranching, fishing, mining. I don't see any combat, but it wouldn't surprise me if there was a little bit, obviously. And there's romance and marriage, so you can play it for yourself. Check it out. It's on Steam right now. But it looks like it's mostly focused on the building of a little town, little pixel graphics. I love the little character designs, though. I love when games do a lot with a little bit, you know what I mean? It looks pretty cute to me. But hey, if it's something you're interested in, check it out. But with that, we'll move on to the next layer. Psych. Bonus entry, Coral Island. Honestly, I thought I put this on the iceberg and looks like I didn't. Whoops, my bad. Hey, I'm not perfect, guys, but Coral Island absolutely deserves to be on this iceberg. It's very, very popular. It's got everything from mining to fishing, farming, obviously co-op, romance. I just don't like the art style. It's very Tumblr-y. But hey, you know what I mean? My personal preference aside, honestly, I really like the underwater gimmick of it. I love deep sea exploration. I already told you how much I love Subnautica, right? So this game deserves to be on the list. Sorry, I forgot it, but check it out if you're so inclined. There's all types of NPCs. They all look decent, and the exploration looks like a lot of fun, and the customization looks like fun. What more can I say? Anyway, with that, let's really move on to the next layer. Layer 5. Little Farm. So Little Farm is a old school, mobile style game released in 2008 and is available on Steam still. The reason this is on this list is because I just came across it and I thought, wow, this is this art style and this old school, this just looks goofy, it's dumb. There's better games that deserve to be on this list, but it just surprised me that they're still wanting to charge $9.99 for this. I mean, look at this art. This art looks goofy. But no offense if this is your favorite game, tell me about it. But it's just a puzzle game. There's no mining, combat, romance, whatever. Not that it has to have it, but just to give you an idea. Let's move on. Farming USA. Farming USA and Farming USA 2 are mobile games that are available on Apple, Android, and Amazon Games, which I gotta be honest, I forgot was a thing. Anyway, this game looks more down to earth. It's more like, farming sim or something like that, where it's more about, more realistic and more about the market deal of it. The reason I put this on the list is because I love these graphics. I don't know, it looks wholesome and peaceful but at the exact same time, it juxtaposes it. For me, in my brain, I associate it with creepypasta. I don't know, I feel like I'm about to have to get isekai'd into this game and avoid the tractor or something, or collect the 8 bushels of corn to survive. You know what I mean? Anyway, check this game out for yourself. It was developed by Bowen Games LLC and released in 2008. So check it out. Let's move on. Tiny Terraces. Tiny Terraces is another idle farming game that you play at the bottom of your screen. It is an early access, so once again, make of that what you will. I've already mentioned that a few times already. But Tiny Terraces is available on Steam. It's being developed by a developer named Vuvu, which is a fun name. But yeah, check it out. The only problem here is that I don't know. I look at these little stick figure characters and they're adorable, but I feel like they're about to get into a mechanical bunny suit and like tear apart some. I'm sorry. Is it too late to make that kind of joke? Anyway, check it out for yourself on Steam. You can buy it right now. It is an early access though. So anyway, let's move on. Replanted. Replanted is a game that you will and won't find on Steam. It's there, but it's been suspended indefinitely, it looks like, and it's been on my wish list for many years, right? Replanted was going to be a game based off the famous internet spooky story, The Evil Farming Game, or The Haunted Farming Game, or The Lost Farming Game. Now, I have to give you some history on this, right? In case you don't know, I'll go ahead and briefly run through it. I recommend Justin Wang, the YouTuber Justin Wang's videos. He's got a trio of videos on this subject, goes into a lot of details, and he uncovers a lot more than what he originally set out for. But this internet creepy story has been solved, so let me explain. So a while back, a Redditor posted on the tip of my joystick looking for a game that he had remembered playing, or he sworn by at least seeing, The Haunted Farming Game. In this farming game, you played a farming sim as usual. However, the twist was in the beginning of the game, you unalive your wife. So, talk about romance. Oh no. You unalive your wife and then bury her. And then on top of farming and taking care of yourself, you have to keep the police away. You have to move the body. There's a fishing minigame, naturally. So this is what this Redditor remembered, and of course has set the internet ablaze trying to find it. Many people claiming they knew what it was, and they had it on an old hard drive that was at their uncle's place, they swear. People said, I played this game, I remember it very well, things such as. Many YouTubers made videos on it seeking to capitalize. I mean, no offense, Wang, but let's be honest here. But it was a pretty interesting search, as many people were like, yeah, you know what? I'll play that. That sounds pretty interesting. And there are some haunted games on this list, let's be honest. Look down below. But anyway, apparently this mystery was solved whenever it was found out that another YouTuber known as Vinesauce had talked about this very concept in one of his live streams. He, had this idea for a Harvest Moon game where you unalive your wife, right? It was said in jest, right? Of course. This Redditor heard that story and then, fell asleep at some point, dreamt about it, and then swore later on he remembered this game. Now, no offense to them, obviously, this is all, memory's a fickle thing. I don't blame him, I really don't. But so that's where he got the idea from, and later on when someone suggested it, the Redditor then said, yeah, that sounds right. So it turns out that this mystery was solved and the game technically didn't exist. This game was going to be a recreation of that concept, but looks like it's never been, released, unfortunately. It's still on my wish list, so, you never know. The Steam page is still up, but that's the story of Replanted and the Haunted Farming Game. Now, I will say at least this mystery has a conclusion, unlike Saki Sandobashi, aka Go for a Punch. Yeah, remember that series? Justin Wang has a series on that as well. Actually, someone did create Saki Sandobashi Go for a Punch, and you can buy the game on Steam right now. I meant to play it during my Halloween live stream, but ended up going with me-side because, waifu. But anyway, check that game out for yourself if you're so inclined. Again, I am a game advertiser, I advertise myself as, but yeah, check out the game, and there's plenty of other more creepy farming games we're going to talk about here in a minute. But yeah, Replanted. Let's move on. Emerald Woods. Emerald Woods is our first game taking us off Steam and specifically on itch.io, although you can check out their Discord as well. It's being developed by a developer named Slashy. This game, if you like that top-down, old-school style, could be the game for you. It's not combat-focused at all, but it is set in an alien world with alien creatures. Of course, it's more peaceful. It is farming, there's seasons, you build, you craft, you fish, you cook, and you explore. So it's a much more wholesome type of game, despite its, setting, right? And despite the way it looks. It looks like it should be a haunted game, but it's actually not. Check it out for yourself. I really want to recommend, indie devs, me. The developer, once again, is named Slashy, and you can find it and play it, for that matter, right now on itch.io. Let's move on. Pumpkin Panic. Pumpkin Panic was released on Steam in 2024. It's developed by a developer known as Laika. I tried. And you can play it right now. It's totally free. Before I go any further, I want to get into a personal message here. Guys, I know that us gamers, things may look bleak, right? Games have never been more expensive. We're getting less and less good releases. You know, Concord 1, 2, and 3, that was a tragedy. There's microtransactions, layoffs, and it doesn't look good. But it's a matter of perspective, right? Because in my opinion, it's never been a better time to be a gamer. There are so many good indie games out there that are either very affordable or just downright free, creative. I mean, look at Stardew Valley, Five Nights at Freddy's, EDLC, Me-Side, all of these games were made by indie games and they're a smash success. Now, a good chunk of that is because of, you know, streamers getting a hold of it. Whoa, this game is so crazy, guys. Check out my merch. You know what I mean? Which is kind of what I'm trying to do on this channel too, but hey, you can call me all the names you want. You can't call me a liar. But anyway, the point is I love indie games, right? So I wanted to point this out because when I saw it, I'm like, wow, this is free. Awesome. Not sure how much gameplay you're getting out of this, but check it out for yourself. You play as a pumpkin person, it looks like, and of course it's in the vein of Don't Starve. It looks very similar to it, but this is a horror game, so you'll be avoiding, you know, whatever is out there stalking you in the night. Despite the fact that it's got this cute pumpkin face, like, yeah, it looks kind of scary, but there is farming and fishing. Not sure what else there is to it, but this game is free, so go play it for yourself and find out. Won't cost you anything. Let's move on. Welcome to Elderfield. So this is another horror game that's also a farming game, which is awesome. I know I misspelled it on the Iceberg. I did that to a lot of entries, but if you've made it this far, you've forgiven me, right? Dislikes are good for the algorithm too, so who knows. Anyway, this is a horror game with a bunch of nightmare imagery, right? Elderfield. It just sounds, you know, Elderfield. I mean, come on now. Of course it was going to be a horror game. This is a game in development right now. The developer is named Chris Coate. You can play the demo right now for free on Steam. This game promises exploration, farming, cooking, combat. I don't know about romance, but it does say go fishing ... So who knows what that's all about, right? Anyway, check it out for yourself on Steam. I just want to support, you know, cool projects like this. Let's move on. Peach Leaf Valley. Okay, so I wanted to get away from the horror for a second, which is why I put this on this tier. I know it seems out of place, but I'm actually cheating a bit because Peach Leaf Valley is not a farming game. It's actually a visual novel, otome, that is specifically targeted at farming game players. So imagine all the romance of the earlier farming games, but a game that's just that, right? But it's set in that farming setting, right? You can play this game right now. You can get the demo on Steam. It is in early access once again. It's being developed by Great Gretsuki Studios. Anyway, it's an otome, so it is a visual novel targeted at a female audience, you know, with attractive male characters being the romanceable options. Nothing wrong if you're a man and you want to play this sort of game. It's not for me, of course. But I'd like to develop one of these games myself one day, you know, if I ever strike it big on YouTube. Here's hoping. I'd be interested. I mean, this is a cool concept, you know. I love the idea of that, right? But there's no farming game here, so I am cheating a bit, but check it out for yourself. You know, you can find it on Steam. Once again, it's being developed by Great Gretsuki Studios, and it's coming soon. Let's move on. Bonus entry, Graveyard Keeper. Ah, yes, bonus entry time. I sure thank y'all for sticking there with me throughout the video. I know there's a lot of farming games I'm leaving out, but I'm adding these in as more fun, right? Anyway, Graveyard Keeper is a farming sim where you manage a graveyard. There's, you know, creatures, monsters, combat, mining, fishing, farming, and of course keeping up with your small business. It's set in the medieval era, and you can do all sorts of things like, you know, farm, fish, defile corpses. Yeah, that's the thing. You can buy corpses and then use their bodies for parts. Side note, would using a human body be good fertilizer? I doubt that. I doubt that. Severely doubt that. But I don't know. Let me know. But actually, don't let me know if you know. I don't want to know how you know. On second thought, let's forget it. It's being developed by Lazy Bear Games, and it was released in 2018. So check it out if that's what you're into. I'm not trying to beat the game up. I'm just saying it's very Yeah, it belongs on this tier for sure. Also, you can now burn people at the stake. Let's move on. Layer 6, Darkest Moon. So not much here. Darkest Moon is only a 5 to 15 minute game developed by a developer named Jesse Miller as a college project. I wanted to put it on the list because finally we have a game with the moon in the title that, involves the moon in some way. All you do is walk around your farm planting things and harvesting them before you can get, unalived by a marauder. And the music is horrifying, so check it out for yourself on itch.io. Let's move on. Meadow GB. So Meadow GB is a farming sim that's developed in that old Game Boy style. So think Link's Awakening, the original version, which I love a lot. It's being developed by a developer named Sal, and you can find it on itch.io. It boasts farming, growing fruits and vegetables, brewing wine, which I haven't seen that a whole lot on this list, decorating your farmhouse, talking to villagers, although no mention of romance, and of course, all set in that Game Boy aesthetic, which again, I find to be really interesting and unique. So good luck to you, Sal. Check this game out for yourself on itch.io, and let's move on. Haystack Village. Haystack Village is a small indie game on itch.io being developed by a developer named Jake Ghosh. This game promises a farming sim, but with obviously a twist of being a horror game and with some mystery involved. Looks like there's going to be some drama as well. With these smaller games, I want you to check them out for yourself. Looks like you can download it for free, but you would be encouraged to name your own price on the download. So look into it for yourself. It looks interesting to me. I don't know what's going on in the screenshot here, but I'd like to know. Anyway, with that, let's move on. Pomo Farm. Pomo Farm is a game you can find on Steam right now. It was released in 2022 and created by a developer named Wormpod. You play as a little cartoon duck and you do farm tasks. I mean, there's not much here, but I just thought it looked adorable. So check it out for yourself. Also, side note, if I ever encourage you to check out a game, please leave a comment. I love those comments. They're my favorite. They're my favorite comments, If you find a game on the list, you're like, I wanted to play that. I really liked it. Thank you. You know what I mean? That's nice. Always nice to read. But yeah, check it out for yourself. It claims to be an idle farming sim with time management and, again, cartoon ducks. Let's move on. Flower Shop. Summer in Fairbrook. Alright, so remember earlier I talked about Peach Leaf Valley, the visual novel farming sim? Well, this is like that, but the other way. So you're playing as a male character and you're romancing female characters in a visual novel setting. Only this one actually does have some farming in it, and a time management sim and a money management sim. This was developed by Winter Wolves and was released in 2010. It's got some pretty mixed reviews, to be fair, mostly people saying that the length was kind of short. But I don't know, if I was going to develop a game, I would develop one like this. I mean, it looks interesting. I don't know, for a 16-year-old game, I wouldn't pay $10 for it, but maybe if you get it on sale. It's on my wish list now. Check it out for yourself. I mean, it looks adorable. But with that out of the way, let's move on. Welcome to the Garden. Welcome to the Garden is a short game on itch.io released in 2021 by developer Aerodozer. In this game, it's adorable. There's pixel graphics, there's mini games, there's gardening, fishing, exploring, mini games, and farming. Did I say mini games twice? Yeah, check it out for yourself. What's interesting about this game is that it was modeled after and specifically made in tribute to a real-world VTuber named Ichika Maya. I don't know anything about them, and I'll just say it outright, guys. I just have to say it. I know I'm sorry if I'm insulting your intelligence, but if for whatever reason you cancel anybody I talk about, that doesn't reflect on me and vice versa. So anybody I talk about in any of these videos, if you decide to cancel me one day, that I'm in no way affiliated with anybody on this list. In fact, I have no doubt in my mind at least a third or half of the developers on this list would personally despise me for one reason or another, but that's fine by me. I just need y'all to know that outright. I don't know anything about this VTuber, so don't be like, oh, they're secretly this. I have no idea. Check out the game because it looks adorable. It's free to play right now on itch.io. Let's move on. Pecking Pixels. Pecking Pixels is on the list because of that adorable alliteration, but this is a game you'll find on itch.io, developed by a developer named Waving Walrus Games, and it's specifically just about taking care of chickens. But they're adorable chickens, and you can dress them up, feed them, and your goal is to unlock the rainbow and golden chicken. So, not much to say here. It's a quick game. You can run it right now on itch.io if you so desire. Check it out for yourself. With that, we'll move on to the final layer. The final layer. Okay, before I get into this, full disclosure here, I don't mind if you click off at this point. If you do, leave me a like to kind of mitigate the fallout from the algorithm. But I don't mind you clicking off because this layer, as you can see, has some adult content on it. And this has been a really cozy iceberg, and I know a lot of people hate adult content, especially when it involves anime characters. Now, the thing is, before you subscribe thinking I'm a wholesome tuber, which I try to be, I'm also really into adult content, and I've never denied that for a second. So just letting you know that outright. I'm not going to show anything that's going to get me banned, obviously, but, viewer discretion advised, 18 plus if you have to, you shouldn't be watching my channel if you're not 18 plus, but, whatever. The thing is, again, this layer has some adult content. Just be warned, right? I know a lot of people get mad, but anyway, let's move on to the final layer. Reaper Sows. Reaper Sows is a game you can find on itch.io. It was developed by the developer Frausen, which you can follow on X and on YouTube. So this is a top-down, quick little indie horror / tower defense / farming games featuring a busty waifu, which is always nice. You are supposed to be growing crops as a sacrifice, and at night, well, the day-night cycle in this game, you get attacked by monsters. So you have to defend your crops from monsters and yourself, of course, and grow enough prerequisite crops to complete the game. It's short. There's not a lot to it, but it's pretty neat. I'm really glad to have played this game, and I'm going to play more of it once this iceberg is done. Check it out for yourself. Let's move on. Iki Chooks. So, full disclosure, when I was doing research into adult content farming games, Cheeky Chooks, I saw the name and I figured it was based on the name, and it's not. It's a wholesome chicken or chook raising game. You can find it for free on Steam. You raise chickens, there's no like mining, combat, romance, things such as. It's just a quick free game. I decided to leave it on this layer because why not? I mean, it sounds like adult content and for this layer, and it's a bit of a doom break, and it's your last warning before, if you want to leave, now's the time to do it. Anyway, check this game out. I'm not trying to overshadow this game, obviously. It looks adorable. You can find it on Steam for free, so what have you got to lose? It was released in 2018 by Trillium Studios, and it has very positive reviews, so let's move on. Cloud Meadow. Alright, Cloud Meadow is a game you can find on itch.io and on Steam, but only if you turn on your adult preferences, because that's right, this is an H game, and I mean this game is really, really horny. It's being developed by Team Nimbus and Tiny Hat Studios, which is no comment on that, but yeah, you can find it on itch.io. It is a farming sim. There's also combat RPG style as well as crafting, but the draw of this game is that it is a farming game for those people that really, really love their animals. And I mean, well, you know what I mean. No, look, no kink shaming here, okay? No kink shaming here. Y'all know what I'm into, wholesome anime girl romances with attractive female characters, the horror. But, this game, if that's what you're into, by all means. And if it's not what you're into, but you're curious, you can check it out for yourself if you want. I don't even want to play it, but, to each their own, right? Anyway, check it out for yourself. Like I said, it's on Steam. You can see it, play it, and do whatever you want with that information. Let's move on. Elf Segs Farm. Okay, so I say segs because of the algorithm. You can guess what the word is, and because it's funny, it's a pun, right? Get it? Farming. eggs, segs, but you know what it is, right? You can find it on Steam if your adult content preference is obviously turned on, and it is an adult content farming game. It looks a lot like Don't Starve, like we talked about earlier. The farming I hear isn't that deep. It's all about the adult content, and it usually is in these types of games. It was released in 2022 by developer R's, just R''S. Interesting. And it's got a plot. So the plot is you play as a nobleman who was banished from his family after having relations with an elf girl, right? So you and the elf girl then set out and farm on your own, and you can recruit other elves in the area to help you. And at night, your elf partner, helps you out in other ways, right? Talk about insert seed pun here. Also, you can use the elf's milk for watering. Okay. You're on the R-Sam channel. What are you upset about? Anyway, not for me, but check it out for yourselves if you're so inclined. Yeah, Elf Segs Farm. What more? I mean, what more can I say? One thing I noticed when I scrolled down to the reviews, I was honestly shocked by all of the totally unironic and serious reviews of the game. I'm like, come on, people, it's literally called Elf Segs Farm. It's not supposed to be taken seriously. Anyway, let's move on. Booty Farm. Okay, I chose this one because of the name. That is hilarious. And look, there are actually more adult content farming games. You'd be surprised, right? I only chose a couple because I'm taking a risk already with the nature of this video and this layer. I don't want to get demonetized over 5 minutes, you know what I mean? So this is all I'm going to show you. It's very heavy on the adult content. It was developed by a developer named Tender Troop, and it was released in 2022. It has mixed reviews, but it's a free game, so, make of that what you will. You can find it on Steam and Newtaku. It is a farming game with adult content. The farming is kind of minor and bare bones. It's all about, once again, the adult content. That was the focus of the game. The, farming is just there. I don't know what more to say. Just check it out for yourself if you're so inclined. Let's move on to the final entry. Harem Ranch Life. Okay, this will be the most controversial entry, but we saved the game for last. Harem Ranch Life is a game you can find on Steam and on other websites, but you're not going to catch me naming them. I'm not going to be responsible if you go to those sorts of sites, but no shame. Again, it's all fictional, but this is an adult content game. It's cozy with friendly music, farming and ranching, decorating your house, but the drive of the game is the adult content. The thing about this adult content is that the character designs, you know where I'm going with this. And this is the version on Steam, and it's still behind your adult preferences, tab. And would you believe if you find this game on Steam, it's still not the uncensored version? So, oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you where to find it or how, but yeah, there's an even more adult content version of this already objectionable game. And now look, again, I don't want to shame anybody, but it's not definitely a step too far for me. It came on my radar quite a while ago, just for some reason. Someone was telling me about it, and I was like, oh my god, I cannot believe it. I could believe it on certain websites, but on Steam of all things. But yeah, no, I'm not going to say check it out, just it exists. And that was the Farming Games Iceberg. Thank you so much for watching. Consider becoming a subscriber or even a member for $1.99 a month. It helps me out tremendously. But with that said, I hope you enjoyed the video. What farming games did I miss that deserve to be on the list? Let me know in the comments below, as well as tell me my guy and this ain't it chief for all of the adult content jokes. But anyway, with that out of the way, I hope you enjoyed it once again. Check out some other videos like my Mushoku Tensei video, or maybe even something obscure like the Sad Internet Iceberg, something like that, right? Go check it out if you're so inclined. I certainly appreciate you very, very, very much. Thank you. Love you all. Take care.